Tonight we are doing a timing belt on a 98 Isuzu rodeo. Recently has been very hot during the day, so come up here at night to do most of these jobs. And it's still, tonight is about 91. So anyway, we're gonna go over a little bit of this one. I didn't see very many things on YouTube about how to do this. This is preventative. We're doing this before it's broke. Fan and fan shroud out of the way, get the breather out of the way. Probably gonna take the hose loose here. Gotta take the other hose loose just to kind of get the stuff out of our way. And then we're gonna take accessory belts off. You're gonna have to pull the harmonic balancer down there, and then we'll align it all and be ready to change the belt. And we are going to do a water pump while it's apart. So stick with me a minute and we will get this going. Okay, that did not take very long at all. Basically, to take the shroud off, it was 2 small bolts right there, and the fan and the pulley came off together, and there was 1 bolt up through right there, 1 there. It's 3 bolts total. I took the entire thing off together as one piece because those bolts, it kept trying to spin, so we just took the bolts out of the bracket that held that on and took that off together. So now we're going to take this bolt, the bolt's holding just the cover on, get that one out of the way. I need to get this one out, and I need to set this timing mark around and try to see where I line them up. I'm going to try and line up the marks up at the top up here. Okay, we have the timing cover off, the timing belt I went ahead and took off. Now I spun this thing around and around. Your timing belt marks versus your pulley marks will never line up again once you set it originally, so you go by the timing pulleys. Now on this, you see the little indent on that one right there. You line it up with that line, which is almost pretty much that bolt hole, and then the little yellow dot is your timing mark for your new belt, which there's a little indent on that. And then if you come over here, you want your timing mark, the green one, to line up with the little mark on the head, which is right there. And same on this side, which you can see was not lined up. So that poses a problem. On top of the belt that was put on this originally, they had put on backwards. So I'm not quite sure how they had this thing timed. But when you put it on, the book says, like, the writing on the belt, you want to be able to read it from the front. The belt they had on it was flipped like you'd be reading it from the back forward. So I think this has been out of phase ever since it was done last time, apparently. This one they got right. They started with that one, so it was right, and then when they went to go line up their other marks, basically everything was off a couple teeth. Because I came over here, I marked the marks on the belt where they were lined up with the timing mark. See, that is the actual timing mark, which doesn't matter, that goes away. So I marked it bottom. That was my bottom timing mark, and then that was my passenger side mark, and that one. So I should be able to lay this out. The new belt, this is the way it was facing out on there, and I can take this belt and lay it the way it's supposed to go, line up my marks, and see, we don't have it, it doesn't line up, not even close. So if I flip it this way, and I can line up my marks again, and they should line up appropriately, I think. Pretty close, which is, that's about how much distance the mark is off on the passenger side. It's about that much out of phase. So we are going to have to go through, double check this, and make sure I get it set correctly. Okay, we have, basically, we're resetting the timing on this thing. It was definitely off. I spun this, well, actually I kind of took hold of it, turned it, and it flipped back. So it was not set right per the belt that was just taken off. It was a couple teeth off, I'm pretty sure. We have this crank is set to the oil little mark, which is basically the center of that bolt, but I moved it back just a little bit to bring the piston, number 2 piston down. So you bring it up the number 2 piston, and I verified it. Then I took and spun this until it clicked. Basically, you'll turn it and it'll jump and stop. Turn it and it'll jump and stop. Well, it'll jump and stop on that mark. And when it jumps and stops on that mark, it's lined up. So we're good on this side. This one, because that's what I just turned the crank and took the belt off in that location, I'm not so sure that it's in the correct position. So I think I'm going to take and turn this one and let it jump until it goes to the 90 degree over here, and then spin it up to that point, which is 90 degrees off of the 9 o'clock position. We have the water pump on, it's already bolted down. It came with a metal gasket. I did a very thin coat of RTV and put it on there. I don't really trust just a single metal gasket. This is the second time this has been done, I think. And there could have been little bitty marks in there. I don't see a metal gasket mashing into the little bitty marks, so we RTV'd it. Just don't want to have to take this all back apart. So, alright, let me get this set up, finished, and I'll start putting the belt back on. Okay, we have the belt on, and I lined up all my marks. A little dotted one down there on my crank pulley on this side, with the mark on the back over there at the line right by the bolt hole. Now, I left this loose, didn't have the tensioner on when I did this. I laid it up here, Came over here, lined my line up there with that one, along with the line right there. You feed it back down underneath that water pump, back up, and then I lined it up with this one that was lined up there. Now this one was just a little hair past probably when I stopped it. So this one is in phase. So your actual alignment marks are 90 degrees over here. So when it springs to the 90 degrees, then you turn it to line it up with that. So you're putting it in phase. So basically, you keep this one marked and your line on that one, feed it over to here, and then I had to turn this one back maybe about, I don't know, not even a quarter inch back to line it and get it lined up, and it was lined up with the line back there. Fed it down here, made sure it stayed on, looped it over the idler pulley, put that on, tensioner, and then I turned this because I was at the 45 degree back from that. So I took out the slack of this side and then pulled my pin. I've spun this thing around, turned the crank over 3 times, it lines up. I actually turned the crank over 3 more times, it lines up. So anyway guys, we got that together. We are going to finish putting on the timing covers. Got everything put back together. The covers, tensioners, belt, fan shroud, throttle body. Don't forget to plug in the mass airflow sensor and the temp sensor on the back of it. Alright, we are going to start this up. Alright, it's running. Got a little bit of valve noise. Got 160 something thousand miles on it. So I think this thing possibly might need some valve adjustment, possibly valve shims. I'm pretty sure that's what they use in this one. I'll have to see if they want to go in that far into this. They're just doing the timing belt to preventative maintenance. It had about 70,000 miles on that one that was on it. Didn't want it to break down on them, so we got that done. And I'm gonna be done. Well, got a couple more things to do this one, which one of them is this wheel hub, which is a locking wheel hub. So we're gonna have to do a rebuild on that, or adjustment, tighten it. I'm not sure what's going on with it. I know it's got some play and it's loose. So anyway guys, that's it for this video. I hope y'all like and subscribe, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.